everywhere. China, all over Asia, all over Europe, the United States, everywhere you can imagine. We all walk for 2 hours. And there's a local leader in each city that says, okay, I'm going to lead the walk in Paris. And there may be 9 walks in Paris. There may be one that starts at the Sacré-Cœur and one that starts on the Champs-Élysées, one that starts in the Champs-Élysées. It's just, they'll go and they pick their route. They go for 2 hours, and you usually end at a cafe or a place to have lunch or dinner, depending on what time you do it. And it's just a social event. It's strictly you're walking around with other photographers, chatting and making friends. And that's really what it's about. And we use the whole thing to raise money for an orphanage in Kenya. Very, very small orphanage. It houses 51 people, built from the ground up by people who've donated to this over the years. And it's a wonderful, wonderful thing that they do. They've given their whole lives to build this orphanage and take care of these great kids. And so every year, that's our main fundraiser is the thing we do is. And so each year, what I do is I pick a different city around the world to lead a walk in, because there's going to be, maybe 1,000 cities, and I want to lead one of them. And the first couple of years, I did it in my own hometown, right? And I realized that's boring. I could use this as an excuse. So I've led walks in Rome and in Venice and in, Rome and Venice and Paris and Prague and just all over. I've done them in London. I've done them I did one in Edinburgh a couple of years ago, and Innsbruck, Austria. And just every year I pick a different city. I did Cuba. I did Havana, Cuba this last year. And this year I'm in the running is perhaps, I've been to Copenhagen before. It's wonderful, wonderful town. But I was only there for like a day or so. A buddy of mine was in town doing work, and I always wanted to go. And so I flew in for just like a weekend. But this would be a chance for me. And I meet a bunch of my friends there. So we have this group of people. There's like 9 or 10 of us that come together every year at the photo walk. We do the photo walk, but then we all do photography. And it's rare because most of my travel photography is done with my family, right? We're on vacation and, we're seeing something. And so this is where it's just strictly, we're just shooting photos and having fun and eating great food. And so we all get together, and it's the same folks. Unfortunately, one of the guys passed away this past year. So it'll be the first time that he doesn't get to go with us, but it was very sad. But the rest of us will carry on, and we just have a great time and enjoy each other's company and take lots and lots and lots of photos. And Dave Williams is one of the guys, Dave. We did that workshop with him in Norway. And so Dave usually is with us. He was with us in Edinburgh driving like crazy because he is a trained stunt driver. So that's what it is. And so this year, I'm thinking, where do I want to go? Either that's someplace I had never been or someplace I want to go back to. And I was thinking Stockholm, and then I was thinking, no, Copenhagen. Copenhagen's lovely. I mean, it is very lovely. And I have like 1 or 2 photos from there. I didn't really, my buddy was there on work, and I didn't really go out and shoot it like I want to. So I've always wanted to go back, and had a lovely time. I mean, the people in Copenhagen, the locals, are very, very lovely and welcoming. It's not cheap. It's not a cheap place. It's on the more expensive places you can go. Like, there are places you can travel right now, wonderful cities that are ridiculously dirt cheap. Dirt crazy cheap. Prague.
Yeah.
Prague, where you get a beer this big and it's £1.
Yeah.
It's actually less than that. It's actually less. It's for a US dollar. So, or a euro, €1. That's crazy for a big beer, right? Havana, Cuba was ridiculously. So we would go to this rooftop restaurant, and they would give you a keg of beer, like a big keg that would sit on your table, and it had a tap, and you could just pour beers after beers after beers. Like a big keg with a big ice flute down the middle of it. So it was ice cold, and it was huge. It was $6.
Oh, wow.
It was $6 for a keg on your table, right? And so Prague is like that. Lisbon is like that. There are places that you can go. Budapest is like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Budapest, you go to places and they're so inexpensive, but then you go one country over and it's like I'll tell you the most expensive place, Norway.
Oh, yeah.
Goodness gracious. You like lunch and you're like, you need to send a credit card statement beforehand to prove you can afford it. It's Norway is crazy. Like Paris, I don't think is crazy. It's expensive, but it's not crazy.
Yeah,
New York's
Scandinavia in
not
general.
crazy.
Yeah, Scandinavia in general is expensive. Like either Sweden, Norway, Finland.
Yes.
Like
yes. Crazy expensive.
Yeah.
But you know that
have
going in.
Yeah, no, that's true. And see, anything that's got any alcohol in it is all of a sudden like super mega expensive. Like in Norway, I think you have to go to like a special, I can't remember what it was called. It was like a special government-run store. So they don't have any, so we call them over here in the UK, off licenses where you can buy wine and stuff.
Yep.
They have very special shops that are government-run, where like the equivalent bottle of wine is like twice the price compared to like the UK, for example. And it's pretty nuts.
Yeah. It is, yeah. So there are places you can go that are very inexpensive, but man, there's a couple that'll really kick you in the butt. Because you can go to Paris. If you want to go to Paris and go on the cheap, you can.
Yeah.
You don't have to eat at the fancy restaurant. You can eat great food and you can stay in clean places.
Yeah.
For a reasonable amount of money. Paris is like London. You can do it as inexpensively or as expensively as you want. You can have it crazy expensive or you can have it reasonable. It's, New York is the same way, except for New York and London do share one thing is your hotel room is going to be crazy expensive. Once you get past the hotel room, like the hotel rooms in London, very expensive. Hotel rooms in New York, San Francisco, very expensive. Just, you can look for a cheap one and you'll look away. You'll look a while. You got to get an Airbnb or something to kind of skirt that. Yeah, I got an Airbnb that was dirt cheap in London. I mean, literally right across from Buckingham Palace.
Oh, wow.
Beautiful place. Had the whole apartment to myself. Gorgeous. Could have slept 6 people. It was great. I walked out and I'm at the fence. Right there is the gardens around Buckingham Palace. And it was a great location and everything. And it was 1/3 the price of a small hotel room. So there's still some bargains to be had there, but you got to work for it.
Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed that clip, then press here for the full episode in glorious Technicolor. Hey, and don't forget to subscribe.